found 19 keys, and this is high-level conversation. The library.
Why is it that you feel that you can become president and make change?
I think I'm in a better position than anybody to actually change our government back to doing what it was supposed to be doing. One, I have a very, very clear idea of what America is supposed to look like, that we're supposed to be an exemplary democracy. We're supposed to be a role model for the rest of the world about this experiment in self-governance.
Have we ever been that?
Listen, as individuals, we never live up to our own ideals. Our job is to continue striving to be perfect humans, but none of us ever makes it. The question is, are you striving to do it? The question of America is not whether it's ever lived up to its highest ideals, but whether it's been on a trajectory to perfect the union. And, our country has done extraordinary things around the world. When we were formed as the first modern democracy in 1780, we were the only democracy in the world. By the Civil War, by 1860, there were 5 democracies. And by the end of my uncle's term, there's 180 democracies around the world. So they're all based upon this idealistic vision that our framers laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them do it a lot better than others. And, we've progressed as a nation. Our Constitution promised equality for all, but it really only gave equality initially to white men who own property.
Mm-hmm.
Then it became all white men. Then it became white men and white women. And then gradually, in the 60s, we started forcing other people to be allowed to participate in our system. So we were always kind of vaguely on a trajectory to live up to those ideals. And I would say since, particularly since the year 2000, we've been going backwards fast, and we're now morphing into a totalitarian system. What I would say, we're no longer a democracy. We're more of a corporate kleptocracy or a plutocracy, which is a war machine economy that is ruled by an oligarchy and an elite, where, the common people have very, very little real say in what happens to our government.
Do you believe, because you are a Kennedy, so if there was a more like affluent class of families, in America that has social and political and influential power, it would be the Kennedys, which one would consider as an American oligarchy, right? And there has been, many, what was this, an experiment that the young girl did to where she traced back all the lineages of the presidents and found that there was a common bloodline. Right. So as the average person has the belief, I can be president, right? America's this home where you can dream and become anything you want. But we also see that things are actually ordered in America, right? Do you believe that your background as a Kennedy allow you to relate to the common struggle of the people?
Well, let me answer that in a different way, other than...
I didn't know which way you was going to answer it at first.
Yeah, rather than answer that directly, let me say
we do like direct answers, though. I know you're a politician, but...
Yeah, well, I don't really consider myself a politician. I've never been a politician. I regard myself as a truth teller. So, rather than laying out for you why I think I can understand the problem the way that you grew up, for example, and
well, I wouldn't have expectation of that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Let me answer in another kind of a roundabout way. We lost democracy before. In the 1880s and 1890s, America, democracy was essentially obliterated in this country, and our country was being ruled by a class of robber barons, what we call robber barons now, the Rockefellers, the Fricks, the Whitneys, the Carnegies, the Mellons, who sat on these interlocking boards of what they call the trust, the sugar trust, the rail trust, the oil trust, etc. And at that time in history, we didn't have a direct election of senators in our country. we had the legislatures pick the senators, the state senators. The legislatures were very easy to purchase, and these individuals owned those legislatures. In fact, it was said of the Pennsylvania legislature that it was the only legislature in the country that was not for sale because John D. Rockefeller owned every member of it and he wouldn't sell any of them. And they did what he said. And this was true of all of them. They were picking the senators ran the parties, they picked the presidents, and that's the way it was. And there was no income tax at that time. So if you had so John D. Rockefeller was paying the same tax as a black man in New York City. Something happened. There was a progressive movement in the cities, which was Republican, but they were people who were idealistic. There was a populist movement in the countryside that was democratic, but was revolutionary and insurgent. There was a series of muckraking journalists who were really good journalists, Ida Tarbell, Upton Sinclair, a lot of others. They were writing mainly for a magazine called McClure's, and they were doing every week exposés on the corruption of government, the corruption of the robber barons, and everybody in the country at that time read McClure's. And then you had a guy from the oligarchy, the center of the oligarchy, Teddy Roosevelt, who was part of it, but he wasn't scared of it. And he was idealistic. And he ran for president. And we restored democracy. We created the first income tax. We created so the wealthy people had to pay their share.
And this was what year?
This was around 1903, the early part of the century. We passed the Sherman Antitrust Act, and we broke up Standard Oil, which is the biggest company in the world. They control probably 80% of the oil on Earth. And, John D. Rockefeller is richer today than Elon Musk is comparatively. They created the 40-hour work week. They allowed unions to organize. They gave women the vote. Most importantly, in 1908. They passed a law that made it illegal for corporations to donate to federal political candidates.
This one got the isolate CBD, the black seed oil, the MCT oil, and the lion's mane powder. I think it's too much in here. I think we need to we got to calm this product down. It's too much. It's too much. Bro, I took this and I was going all day. Ain't nobody got that much work to get done in a day where they need to be taking Supermind. Like, what if you a house mom and all of a sudden you get everything done in one day and you ain't got nothing to do the rest of the week? I took this. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life. I feel like I done got everything done. I was up. Right. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I changed the world 1,000 times on this. I done figured out every single plan. The next thing I need to have is patience because I done planned everything. I done did everything I could do in a day. I'm serious. Like, I think we put too much in here. We need to cut down the ingredient list and we need to make this regular mind because this is like Viagra for the brain.
19 keys, and this is high level conversation. The library.